Hi, my name is Maria Sagredo. I work for Spring Branch ISD. I am a bilingual ESL teacher. I have been teaching for 22 years. I started teaching in a high school my first 2 years, and then I transferred to an elementary school. I have been a second grade, fifth grade, and fourth grade bilingual teacher, ESL teacher as well. I speak English and Spanish. Spanish is my native language. What I have noticed throughout the years is that English learners struggle with vocabulary. It's hard for them to have the vocabulary to express themselves and to communicate, so many speak in their native language and are reluctant to speak English. When a second language learner acquires a skill and the student masters that skill, the student can transfer that skill to his second language. So a learner's cognition is used to switching back and forth in both languages. They acquire multitasking skills. How different are monolingual than bilingual students? In terms of behavior wise, bilingual students are better, well behaved than monolingual students. I guess it's a culture thing because in many countries in Latin America, a teacher was seen as a person who was well respected and someone who had the power to discipline the students. And many of our parents had that experience back in their countries. Academically, I have seen many bilingual students that are usually at a disadvantage in the English language in the lower grades. But as they move on to the upper grades, they acquire their English skills very quickly. One of the things that I have noticed that motivates my students to learn is when I make connections or I integrate the skill that I'm teaching with the topic that interests them or that is familiar to them. For example, I can think of a book. The title is Que Montón de Tamales or Too Many Tamales in English by Gary Soto. When I read the story to the students and they are all engaged because they have that experience where their mom or grandma have made tamales, then I integrate the concept or the strategy, and that helps a lot. Well, I just share with you what are some of the things that have worked in my classroom, but also I think as teachers, we should emphasize the intrinsic reward instead of the extrinsic reward. Some of the techniques that I use for my English language learners are many visuals, many anchor charts, sentence frames, bilingual pairs, rephrasing, constantly checking for understanding, differentiation, using background knowledge, and integrating subjects. Those are just some of the techniques that I use in my classroom. Do I see an improvement in English on my students at the end of the school year? Yes. I definitely see an improvement in English on my students at the end of the school year. Some make a huge progress and others are slowly making progress, but they all do.